Hello there and welcome to ClueCon Weekly this time around. We're very pleased to have Mathias from Pascom in the studio today. How are you doing today, Mathias?
Thank you, David. Fine, and thanks for having me here.
Oh, it's a great pleasure to have you along. You and the whole Pascom team are well-known community members. I've enjoyed mingling with you all at Ilio Worlds over many years, so it's a real privilege to have you in the studio today.
Thank you.
Now, I always like to start, although we're here to talk about VoIP and RTC and cloud-based services and all kinds of things. We're all people, and so I always love to just get a little bit of the background of the person and the personal story. So tell us a little bit about your background, please, Mathias, and how you found your way into the world of VoIP.
Yes, so I started very, very early in my days. I think at the age of 12 or something, I wanted to build a PBX system together with my brother. Can you remember those, the PBX systems?
The bulletin boards.
Are you too young for it?
I'm probably too old for it.
No, PBX system is where you dial up with your modem, and then you have kind of whatever page which is done in text. And there we started, and we found out that we love networking. And we tried to make our first money with that, because before you had the email, you had the net mail. Maybe you can remember that. And we were a node in the net mail community, and we tried to charge 10 Deutsche Mark. It was before, and we tried to make some business out of it. And this was the first business we did. And it was telecommunication already. It was very expensive. We had a huge phone bill each month, and we had to argue with our parents, let's say, every month, a lot. And they told us that this is just too much money we waste. And then we stopped at some point with our career as a carrier for net mails. So this was the first contact, and then it was clear that my brother and me want to do something with computers and something with networks. And then we started very early with trying to make networks for companies and stuff. And at some point in time, it was then just natural to go to a new technology, which was SIP. Then it was crazy new and fancy and shiny, and we tried to again make some money with SIP, and that's where it comes from.
Mathias, what year would that have been roughly when you found your way into SIP?
I think 2004 about.
Pretty early days then, in terms of adoption of those things. Yes. Yeah, sorry, to continue. I interrupted you.
It was a beast back then. It still is.
Great days.
Sometimes.
For sure. And so you've had Pascom for a very, very long time as a company.
Yes, it was the first task on my 18th birthday to found a company. So this is the story. So we just started, and I pick up my driving license, because in Germany you are allowed to drive when you're 18. And then I drove my car to somewhere where you can found, where they told me that you can found the company. And then I did this somehow, and it was just...
That's amazing.
For fun.
And when you say... I was going to ask that. So when you said it was your first task to found a company, who gave you that first task? Was it something you dreamed up yourself, or did your parents say, Mathias, it's going to be a very good idea for you to set up your own business?
It was clear, because we were completely unlegal. As I told you, or tried to explain, we were doing some business already at a very young age, and it was completely illegal, because we were not allowed to create an invoice or something.
Somehow that sounds very un-German.
Yes. Yes, maybe we are very un-German.
Great. Okay. Anyway, sorry, do continue with the story. It's fascinating.
Yeah. But that's it. That's it, basically. And then we tried at the age of 18, and then we tried to do some business. I have some slides then, and you can see the steps.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's pop them up. I'll do that right now.
Okay.
There we are. We've got your screen shared. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. So technology-wise, it still works. So a few slides only about the history. So this was the first logo we had in 1997, and this was the year of my 18th birthday. So you can calculate how old I am now. So this is the logo.
Or how young you are.
How young I am. Exactly. And this is the first logo of Pascom. And it looks very cool nowadays because it's so retro now. But I didn't like it so much at the beginning because it was done by my dad and he tried to do this logo for us. And today it would be super fancy. And back in the days, we said, oh, it looks too old. Pixels are too big and stuff like this. But this was our first logo. This were we in 2004. So at the beginning, we just try to fix somebody's computer. And then we tried to fix the computers of bigger companies because we realized that companies are able to pay more money for the service than private persons can. And so we decided to make networks only. And we did a lot of stuff already with Linux and tried to make company networks based on Linux servers. So this is the story behind it.
Just going back to that picture, Matthias, which one is you on that picture?
The skinny one.
Goodness, it's two different Matthiases.
Yes, that's true, but somehow this VoIP makes you losing some weight.
Amazing, great stuff.
Yes, so no problem here. Then 2006, we started and made our first VoIP server, and as I wrote down here, more or less per accident. We had a bigger customer, big in terms of the days back then, about 150 users or something. So it was our biggest at that point in time. And he said, I heard in the news that we should all do IP telephony now. Can you deliver something? And we said, sure, we can deliver something. We had no clue about VoIP, a little bit of exploitation with SIP and nothing else. And we said, sure, we are Linux guys, we can do everything. And we can deliver, for sure, we can deliver a IP telephony system for you. And we did it. We tried to create a kind of distribution already, so an ISO file, which was tied to this server, and it was Asterisk based, Asterisk 1. Something, not 1.2, one version before, and we made it somehow that it worked. So we were not thrown out of this company, of this first company. He's used it for a very, very long period, and the only mess, or which I can remember, was that we started with this service. And the first thing was, this was somebody who got a lot of faxes, and we have gone to production, and he started in the morning, and the first task for the telephony system was to receive 500 faxes in a few hours, and it crashed completely. It crashed.
Now, yeah, I mean, fax and VoIP are not great bedfellows to start with, are they? So what was it, the actual technology clash, or was it just the load?
It was the Asterisk. We used the plain Asterisk implementation of fax, which was not so good at the beginning. We moved overnight. So we saw this is not a good solution. And then overnight, we tried to find something else. And then we used the HX modems together with Hylafax. And this worked a lot better. And this was the first big problem to solve. And this was the day where we started to hate fax completely. And we still hate it today.
Yes, I was going to say, along with most of the industry, we do hate fax. The appliance there on the screen certainly looks the part, Matthias. What made you call it the MobyDick?
We needed a name. Today we call everything Pascom. It makes sense because the only thing we do is Pascom. So the server is Pascom now, and the service is Pascom now. But back in the days, we did a lot of network technology still. So the idea was, call it somehow. And then there was a telephony system which was called Octopus. And Octopus was from Siemens, the biggest telephony system in Germany or even in Europe these days, or the days back. And then we said the MobyDick will eat the octopus because naturally, way to eat octopus. So this was the story behind it, and it was not so good because yes, there is the book, but if you try to do a Google search engine optimization, then searching Moby-Dick is very complicated, this turned out. And the other thing is, if you're not familiar with the book in other cultures, then Dick is not the best way, the best word in your name you can have. So
understood.
Yes, but it was funny back then.
Yes. No.
Okay. After a while, we tried to focus on VoIP only, so we get rid of all this network technology stuff, which is not VoIP related or not the platform related. So normal support for business customers. We moved to VoIP only and only do our Pascom services. And we tried to do a serious business. Here you can see us wearing the first time in our life suits and having a booth at the CeBIT. So this was where we tried to be really.
And of course, seeing a bit of the Mathias personal transformation as well.
Yes. Excellent. Also my brother. This here on the right side is my older brother.
And what's your brother called?
Quirin. Or
sorry, I didn't hear that, Mathias.
I did not get the last question because we were somehow overlapping.
Yeah, sorry. I was asking what your brother's name was.
Quirin.
Kieran.
Quirin, it's a complicated name, yes.
Okay, and I see that you hadn't quite moved away from the Moby-Dick at that point.
Yes, no, not yes, here is the dick still in the picture. You can see it.
Excellent.
Clearly.
I'm sure you did that on purpose.
Yes, sure. No, I think we were at the booth at SNOM, I think, and there was also I think some competitors around us, and we tried to show them the dick as big as possible. Okay. Here is 2016. We focused on cloud only, and we try to do something here. And in Germany, the problem is, or our target market or our core market is the DACH region, which is Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and other countries around us for sure, but this is our core market. And they're very skeptical about everything related to cloud for a very long time. So this is the reason why we did start relatively late in thinking about how we can move all the services to the cloud. And we did this now, so 80% of our new customers are cloud, but we still can offer you on-site technology as well. And the cool thing about it is that we have the same code base, really the same technology, which you can have in one small box, or which you can have on hundreds of servers in the cloud. So that's
great.
Interesting part.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes your life much easier from a management point of view.
Yes, of course. Because normally the cloud is your baby, and then you do some hacks that it works, and that's not possible here because everything has to be able to run on-site and in the cloud at the same time. So you have to be careful what you're doing, and the developers have to keep in mind that it has to run out of the box. And that makes maintaining much easier at the end of the day.
Great stuff.
What we are today we are one of the most complete UC solution for businesses. What does this mean, or what do we try to have as USP or selling point is? Normally in the business, you have a lot of applications, so maybe something for chat, something for video collaboration, something for telephony, some VoIP server, some whatnot file sharing mechanism, and so on and so forth. And we have a really complete suite which can do all of that, maybe not in detail as good as this software and not in detail as good as this, but you have one software and you can use it for all of this unified communication or real-time communication in the business. And we are always doing this with businesses in mind. So things like restrictions that you can say, okay, this guy can chat, but not with everybody, and stuff like this can be done in our software. And that's what people like, because it's easy and they can then do their business with our software stack somehow.
Yes,
And accepted.
I think sometimes as technology geeks, we get carried away with the SIP side and getting everything working. But in reality, classes of service and things like that are very important to businesses, which are kind of layers on top of these things.
Yes, that's true. And they just need it, or I don't know if they need it, but they want it. And if you have it, you can sell it. So that's the reason why. And what we see here is a lot of, let's say, shadow IT technology. So if you don't give the user something to work with what works, then he will find his own way. I make an example. We found out that if you say, no, we're restrictive in our company, you are not allowed to chat, or you are not allowed to do this and this file transfer, then what will the people do? They will find alternatives. They will use WhatsApp groups for your company or something. And that's in my opinion, the baddest thing which can happen, because then it's completely out of control where your data is, where your business data is, and that's crucial in my eyes. So finding something which is for your business and which you can control is good for a business. For a private perspective, it's completely different. Yes.
Yeah, Mathias, I was just wanting to jump in and say, yeah, that's a great lesson. You're giving us gold in terms of dealing with customers. And I don't want to miss the other thing that you just said, and that is the difference between what customers need and want. And it's always easier to sell customers what they want rather than just what they need. And so, yeah, great lessons. Thank you very much for that. You're imparting wisdom here on ClueCon Weekly.
When you try at the beginning from your age of 12 to sell something, then you learn somehow what you should do and what not. Yeah.
Really useful stuff. Thank you.
Yes, but on the other hand, we made everything wrong. If you compare us, we started in the same year, I think, as Google, and they have much more money than we have. So ask them how.
I think it'd be tough to compare anybody to Google, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Thank you, Mathias. Now, is that the end of your slideshow, or is there more?
Yes. No, that's it. That's it. We can go into technical insights then, if you like, because maybe it's interesting for the audience, because it's the community somehow, to see how we solve the problems. So what particular problem we had is we had 10 years of development of on-site stuff, and then we wanted to go to the cloud, and we managed it that we can have the same stuff on-site in one box, and we can scale up to hundreds of servers with the same code base. And maybe it's interesting which technology we use or how we do this. But we can continue as you like with the slides, and not with the slides, with the tech demo, or just talking again.
No, you've hit on a very important point. That will be a subject of interest to many people, is how to scale up and how to transfer. I'm sure most people are making their way into the cloud if they've not done that already. And so, yeah, any insights you can share on that, Mathias, would be great.
Okay, then we directly dive into it. So only in short, and only to understand the overall concept maybe. So here I did a setup of a single host. You can see it's running on one IP address. So this is only one single host. This one single host has a management UI. This is that one. And it has phone systems. You can see here it has one only single instance. It's called Pascom 0, and you can add as many, not as many as you like, some when there is the end of performance of your server, but you can add multiple phone systems on one single host. So this one single host can be accessible through whatever domain you like. And here you have the instance name in the URL. So if you connect via SIP, or if you connect via XMPP for our chat services, or if you connect just for the web UIs or provisioning or whatever services, web RTC, we always have this domain which routes then everything to your instance, which is on this single host. And here on this single host, here, this is a container, and this container has our, let's call it, old technology that we always have an asterisk inside, a database inside. So every customer is somehow not trapped, but he's inside of this container. So he cannot break out of this container. He cannot disturb other customers, and he's in that container. And then the question, how we can, yeah?
Yeah, I was just going to point out what an interesting architecture that is, because it's a multi-tenant system, but each tenant is their own inherent PBX, rather than it being a tenant on a multi-tenanted PBX, as it were. And
as I know from your past, you're familiar to Asterisk a little bit, for sure. And
indeed.
Yes, and if you allow your customers, for instance, that they can use scripts, Asterisk guys love to use scripts on every corner if they can. And it's dangerous. If you have a cloud system and everybody shares one Asterisk or one whatever, free PBX, it does not matter, whatever he shares, it's dangerous. If you allow scripting, then the system is broken already, because then he can do some scripts and then he can go to others' customers' domains or something. So that's why containers. All those containers are protected by interfaces. We call them interfaces. And this interface, you can have also as many as you like. Each interface represents a real network, or a virtual, if you like, network interface. So you put on the network interface a configuration. And you can then say, this interface provides a VPN proxy, mobile pairing, it does the encryption, it does the phone provisioning, I allow DHCP provisioning for that interface, whatever, and so on and so forth. So you can do the setup on the interface. And the interface, this is interesting, is also a container. And in the inside of this container, there is running for all SIP stuff, Kamailio, which protects all the outside or all the inside stuff from the outside world. So you can only access the system through the interface. So if I go back to this example, this URL points to the interface container, which has for sure also engines or something inside. And this one does the routing to the instance. So you can never access one of these phone systems directly. You have always to go through one of these interfaces, and all of the interfaces have a lot of proxies in their running. RTP engine, Kamailio, XMPP proxy, HTTP proxies, and so on and so forth. And we only allow secure connections through these interfaces, and then we can go, if you like, unencrypted or whatever, to your actual PBX. So we protect you there. And the good thing is, if you want to have this on-site, you can ship this host, this ISO file to a customer. He will install it, and he has all that protection with these interfaces, with all the proxies, the same technology like we have in the cloud, which is also tested, battle-proofed for the internet access, which has also a lot of pen tests from Sandro, for instance. And the very same technology is shipped to you. So you have the same security. And as a standard customer, the only difference is that you have only one phone system, not multiple. You could, but makes no sense. And this is how you can do this. So the same technology here and there. And the next thing is that you can not only have one host, you can have as many hosts as you like, because then you don't have to use all features on all hosts. So in our cloud setup, we have a few servers. So for the proxies, where we only activate the interfaces. And then they are a gateway to the other servers, which only are holding the PBXs. So we have proxies upfront and PBX carrier containers in the backend. And this allows us to scale up very, very good. So we can have as many proxies in the front to make load balancing and everything. And we can have as many PBXs in the back per host. Now we are having per host because it's then easier to deal with 50 customers per host. And then we can have as many hosts as we like. And if you want to have a new customer, you don't have to create a new virtual machine or something. We just create a new license, ship it to the cloud, and then it will automatically distribute in the cloud and then just start such a container. And that's very easy and very good. So the same technology from on-site, the small box, same technology, same security, like big scale in the cloud. And also our partners can use this system. So we have partners which have their own cloud service, and they can use also our technology to create in whatever scale they like. Pascom cloud.
That seems like an amazingly sophisticated and yet elegantly presented system, Mathias.
Yes, and under the hood, it uses all the technology we love. So Asterisk, for instance, free switch, maybe channels for sure, Camelio, and container technology and everything. And what we also found out is that container technology don't always has to be Docker, because Docker has a lot of, let's say, overweight. So it has a big footprint. It does a lot for you. But in our situation, it does too much. So in our case, we stick to LXC as container technology, which is underlying. And it really works great for us.
That's great to know. Okay, I'm going to bring you back full screen so we can take a look at you. One of the things that thank you for sharing that. That is really incredible. And one of the other things you're well known for in Pascom has been a great supporter of the VoIP and open source RTC community, and that's evidenced by your ongoing participation in Camelio World. Very often putting a lot of resources, a number of people and video equipment and things in there when Camelio World is a live event. What is it that in your mind is so important that you devote that much resources to helping the community?
Yeah, I think we get a lot out of the community. And as I told you, we started with Linux very early, and we learned that from the beginning that if you have an advantage of something, you have to give back something. And because all of our business is somehow just possible because of open source from the very beginning, we love to help here. And sometimes it's possible that you can help with code or something. But we found out that, or especially we found out in the case of Camelio, that there is already great code and great people writing the code. We can contribute a little bit. So we also do bug fixing a little bit, what we can do and what we can help. But we found out that on the business side or on the presentation side, it's not so good. And then we said, okay, maybe we can help there because we know how to do video, we know how to present us, and maybe we can give the community a good, let's say, stage where we can show how great we are all together. And that was the main reason why we started to do this. The drawback was that on the first Camelio World, where we participated as a video team, they treated us also as a video team, and they did not talk with us one single technical question. They thought we were just the video guys. And they asked us video questions, and we said, hey, we are VoIP engineers. And we said, next year we will have T-shirts where we will write on it them something like, hey, we can also talk zip to you. So this was funny.
Yeah, I think the thing is, when you do show up at Camelio World, you do look like a very professional bunch of video guys with all the equipment and the different cameras around the place. And of course, you've provided a service which has, made the Kama-Ilio video output the envy of all the other conferences, because other people hold conferences and either their video isn't as good, or maybe the recorded videos don't get out onto YouTube quick enough. But you guys have done an amazing job there. That's great. And of course, provided gummy bears as well on the odd occasion.
Yes, we are known for the gummy bears. So the only marketing thing we can is gummy bears. So we stick to it. It works all the time.
Well, we're coming towards an end of our time together, Mathias, and I'm grateful for you coming in. But you've been in the industry a long time. You and your company have developed over that period. I wanted to ask you, what do you see the future holding for the real-time communications or the unified communications industry?
I think, or what I think is the problem we have to solve still is that it is not unified at all, in my opinion. So in the past, or still now, the only common thing we have is the email. So you can reach everybody via email and maybe the PSTN. But all the other services we offer, and Pascom is no exclusion from that, is that it is not unified at all. Everybody or every company tries to be the one company to go to, and collaboration and so on does not work very well. So there are some attempts like metrics or something. They want to do it, but I see this as the most challenging thing to do, really, again, something which is collaborating. Because now you can choose. I can go to Microsoft, I can buy everything from them. I can go to whatever other company, just replace the name, and can buy everything. But then I want to talk to another, let's say, whatever vendor, and I cannot communicate seamlessly. What do I then? I will write him an email, because I cannot invite him to my system. He uses another system. So this is something I don't like much. And I think this is one of the key points we have to solve.
And so are you suggesting that through the wider adoption of open standards for intercommunication between these vendors? Yes,
like email. Email is something where everybody says, okay, it works like this. If you want to write an email client, you can just do it, and everybody can send you an email. If you want to write an email server, you can do it, and you can receive emails immediately. Works. And all the other stuff, if I want, let's say, to receive somebody who uses Microsoft Teams, and I want to somehow call him in his Teams, then it falls back to PSTN if I don't have the same software. So that's not future. So I want to, or I think we have to do something here, really. And the only thing which does somehow unified is your mobile device, because there you have all the vendors installed, and this thing unifies it somehow for you, because you can then react on every message. And I think that's not how it should be.
Well, thank you for sharing those thoughts, Mathias. And I have one more question, because we are right at the end of our time now. And that is there anything else that you'd like to mention? You've given us a lot of great information. You've given us a bit of history and even talked about the future. But is there anything else you would like to share before we disappear off?
Yes, I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody in the community. And I'm really glad that there are people like you who keep the stuff running, and like all the other communities. And I really love that we are part of this community. And thank you all for that.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for giving of your time to come along today, Mathias. We're really grateful. Very interesting insights about how you moved into the cloud, and especially your ability to use the same technology on premises as well as the cloud. And thank you not only for coming in today, but for all that Pascom does within the community as well. It's much appreciated. And I'll say bye-bye for now, and hope we get to see you again at some stage. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for your great work. Bye.